Hello, hello, hello. Match preview again. This week we have Orlando versus Toronto. It's a home game in whatever Camping World Stadium or the Citrus Bowl, whatever you'd like to call it. Tonight, Ron is with me as usual for the match preview, and Mark from Mistake by the Lake. You guys have seen him before. He previewed Toronto with us twice last year. Say hello, Mark.
How you doing, guys?
Good, good. All right, pleasure to have you on. Ron, I will start with you this week. What do you think we will see from Orlando City lineup wise, and what any last minute takes about the San Jose game, just to tie up any loose ends?
Well, I think what you can take away from the San Jose game is that Orlando City is an average team. We seem to, I mean, we have 8 draws in 14 matches, so it's about as average as it gets. The good news is we're still not far off the top spot in the East, but we're not far off the bottom spot either. So I think Orlando City we are what we are right now. We're a middling team that's trying to find our way still. But moving forward, I think this week trying to predict Adrian Heath would be difficult. What I would do personally is I would not play Breck Shea this week. What do you think about that, Sam?
Um, if you want to play him at left wing, I'm cool with it. If you're gonna play him at left back, I'll take a pass on Breck Shea.
Yeah, I think if it was me, I'd play Luke Bowden this week just because of Toronto's attacking prowess and what we're going to see from Giovinco. I would prefer the better defenders back there. So
Me
if you saw
too.
Bowden back there, you'd have Redding, David Mateos because Seb Hines is on yellow card accumulation suspension. And then I'm going to assume we stick with Kevin Olsen at right back. At some point, we'll probably see Ramos come back in there, though. Obviously, Bendick in goal. The defensive mids, Christian Higuita, and I'm still going to say Carrasco's been playing pretty well since Seren's been out, so I would say why rush back Seren? Maybe give him a little bit more time off and put Carrasco in there. Maybe get Seren on late as a sub just to get him some minutes and get it back in rhythm. And then up top, our wingers. It's the question we have every week. Kaká, Molino, Vinter, and Rivas. One of them's going to sit. I'm going to say because Rivas had an assist last week late in the game that maybe Rivas gets to start this week and then Laren up top, obviously.
All right, and then Kaká in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
or Molino in the middle. Kaká should be back. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I think
So.
he'll be back.
All right. The only my take on the lineup is I think we'll see Alston at right back, and I think that with the Open Cup game coming up next week, I think we'll see Ramos and Seren get their minutes in there. I probably agree with the late sub for Seren. Only if we're down though. I don't think we sub Seren on if we're up. Um, for
Agreed.
whatever reason, that's my gut feeling. So defensive mids, I agree with Higuita and you know Carrasco across the front line. I think we're going to see probably the I don't know. I'm just going to agree with you just for the sake of agreeing because it is mixed match. I think we'll see Molina whether he's on the right or in the middle depending on Kaká. I'm pretty sure Kaká will be back. So and then on the left, Rivas sounds good to me. What do I care at this point? I just want to see us get some goals maybe. But anyway, Mark, what do you think we'll see starting 11 wise from you? And if you want to precede that and tell us a little bit about what you got going on this season in Toronto.
Well, Toronto's big concern coming out of last year was how many goals we allowed. I believe off the top of my head it was 55 goals, either the worst in MLS or tied for the worst. And we made some changes. We said goodbye to. We sent Joe Bendick to you. We got Irwin from Colorado and Drew Moore. So we've got a new central defender and a new keeper, and a much greater emphasis on defending. Toronto has been notorious for allowing late goals over the many years, and that is no longer a worry. Of course, the big concern is we are not a strong scoring team. Josie Altidore, with his hamstring injury, I believe that is hamstring injury number 427 for Josie Altidore. And not that we're counting hamstring injuries for Altidore. Altidore's been out. Giovinco has been looking a bit lonely. Everyone in Toronto is a bit upset that Giovinco was not chosen by the Italian team for Euro 2016. We expected him to be gone. He's playing. He's playing as if he's still trying out for the Italian national team, and he hasn't been looking quite so happy with Bradley gone and Altidore injured. He doesn't have the support. He doesn't have the service. We've got a good record. 5 wins, 5 losses, 4 ties. But it's the same thing that you said for Orlando. We're not at the top of the league. We're not at the bottom, and everyone seems to be close to each other so far this year. What we can see for this game is the return of Michael Bradley. We've got your Copa tournament disappears from Canadian television. Unless you get in a really obscure channel. We've all been watching the Euro, and of course attending Toronto FC games. We've played a double game against Montreal, like a knockout, and now we're playing Vancouver for the Canadian Championship to be in the Champions League. But yeah, Michael Bradley has disappeared off the radar as far as the Toronto FC fan is concerned. So we don't know. We read about how he's been doing against Argentina and Ecuador, but we don't know what his form is like. So it'll be interesting to see him land back in the middle of the midfield. Will Johnson is also in the middle of the midfield. Osorio, Endo is our rookie. He'll be in the midfield. Javinko will be pretty much the only striker. And our back 4 is Beitashour, Zavaleta, Drew Moore, and Justin Morrow. And they've been strong. Irwin's been a great keeper for us. We're tough to score against.
Okay, and I'm glad that you mentioned that you shipped Joe Bendik to us because, coming over, we were all like, oh, this guy gives up a lot of goals, and I think it kind of goes to what Toronto's back line was like the past couple of years. And then this year, we're not really keeping any clean sheets, and I don't really attest it to being Bendik's fault. So, Ron, what's your opinion on Bendik coming over just in relation to him giving up goals in the past versus the goals we've given up this year?
Well, obviously he was a cheaper alternative than Tally Hall, and we all liked Tally Hall last year. But I think Bendik's actually been better than Tally Hall for the most part of this year. I mean, we have given up a lot of goals, but Orlando City just doesn't defend very well in front of Bendik. I mean, if you remember, and we've given up about 21 goals this year, I think, something like that. 23 goals actually, but a lot of them, most of them aren't Bendik's fault. I can't remember a major gaffe or mistake that he's made this year. So he's been solid. He's been keeping us in most of these games. We're lucky to get some of the draws that we have, probably because of Bendik. So so far so good with him, and he looks like he could be the keeper for a couple years here.
All right, and Mark, can you just tell me a little bit more about your back line and how it's benefited Irwin? Because you said you guys are hard to score against. So what are you guys doing that are making it so hard for the other teams to score? Is it you're defending as a unit? Is it your one-on-one defending?
Defending as a unit, definitely. Vanny, our coach, has experimented with a few different ideas for a while there. He was really treating our left back and our right back as wing backs and forever sending them forward, which meant that there was just 2 in the back defending, and therefore Toronto was vulnerable on counterattacks. And now he's got them more as stay at home, so that it is a solid back 4, plus more defending midfielders. Will Johnson came to us from Portland, and he's a defensive-minded midfielder. In the absence of Michael Bradley, we were playing Benoit Cheroux, and he's also a defensive midfielder. So the midfielders have been shielding the back 4 much more effectively. And Clint Irwin, the keeper, we think is a huge improvement over Joe Bendik. Joe Bendik never seemed to gel with his central defenders, and that seems to be a strength with Toronto this year. our other knock against Joe Bendick was always distribution. That late in the game, if Joe made a save and had to, roll the ball out or kick the ball away, he was forever giving it back to the other team. It was kind of like a bit of an endless cycle. Bendick would make a save, Bendick would give the ball away. Bendick would make a save, Bendick would give the ball away, and we'd yell, if you didn't give the ball away, you wouldn't have to make the saves you have to make.
Well, I think there's lots of other people on our team giving the ball away more frequently than Joe Bendick is these days. But anyway, so I think the obvious person that Orlando needs to defend against is um, I'm just drawing. Yeah, I just drew the biggest blank. Is Jervinko? I just had a total brain fart there. So, and I know he's not been in the best form, and you attributed it to his lack of service. And you have Bradley coming back in. Maybe will help with the service. Ron, what do you think we got to do to slow that train down?
Well, I think we'll probably have to keep a couple bodies on him, or at least always have help there if you need it. Part of Giovinco's struggles is just not having Altidore out there. Altidore commands. I mean, say what you want about Altidore as an individual player, or his scoring ratio or whatever, but he commands a lot of space and opens up a lot of space for Giovinco to roam freely for Toronto. So that is definitely going to be our benefit that he won't be there. Bradley will help too, but Orlando City played long stretches of very good defense last week, but it's just a couple of mental lapses they have every game, or where they just switch off. So they've got to be mentally stronger. They've got to stay focused for 90 minutes. This team either likes to score in the first 5 minutes or score in the last 5 minutes, and then also give up a goal in the last 5 minutes. So they need to play a full game. They need to finish it out.
All right, and Mark, what do you think? What do you think Giovinco can do against us, maybe without Bradley?
Well, we saw that last Saturday night against the LA Galaxy, in which the Galaxy were just double and triple covering Giovinco, and there really is no other scoring threat. With Bradley not there and Altidore not there, you would be foolish to start covering the wingers. We've got players like Jonathan Osorio, who hasn't scored yet this year. We've got a new striker, Mo Babuli, who hasn't scored yet this year. We've got a list of half a dozen players who are getting a lot of playing time who have yet to score this year. Giovinco, I think, has got 8 goals now, or I think 8 in league play. He's the only one to worry about. And against the Galaxy, their defenders are huge. It seemed as if a Galaxy defender, I forget his name right now, it seems as if every time he would lift his knee, he was in danger of knocking Giovinco's head right off. And it was like watching an NBA player covering a jockey, and it was it's the way to stop Giovinco from scoring.
All right, and then you just mentioned, you said you had a half a dozen players who are all getting playing time and not scoring. So, other than Giovinco and other than Bradley, and I personally know Drew Moore because I wanted him on our team, and Will Johnson from Portland. These are players that I'm familiar with. So maybe other than those players, who is there in Toronto that a common fan in Orlando should keep an eye on during the match?
If we're going to win, it's going to be players like Jonathan Osorio, who was honored the other night for having played now 100 games for Toronto. He's played 100 games, and you've probably never heard of him. He just isn't a big impact player, but he is perhaps the one who's most experienced at linking with Giovinco. He seems to have the best understanding of where Giovinco wants the ball, or where to be a decoy for the benefit of Giovinco. So if Giovinco is on, Osorio is going to be sort of the complementary piece there, the man to look out for.
All right. And, I think that we've had a mix, I'll call it a miss, actually, a miss and match back line all year. It just was in a shuffling center backs, shuffling them left and right every week, it seems like. So I think Jervinko could probably give us a pretty big headache if he can get the ball with some service. Ron, wouldn't imagine any disagreement from you on that.
No, I mean, we all remember what Toronto did to us last year multiple times. We'll have Mateos back there, who's not exactly fleet of foot. So if Giovinco can run in behind him, we could have some problem. Giovinco's going to give every defender a problem, no matter how good you are. But yeah, I don't know. I see this as a low-scoring game just because Toronto's been a low-scoring team this year. I expect them to play disciplined and tough and good defensively. So I think we have our work cut out. But I'm hoping that last year doesn't carry over this year, where they're kind of like a bogey team for us, where we just don't match up well against them. But I'm thinking without Altidore, that makes a pretty big deal, and they're not nearly as potent.
Yeah, I distinctly remember Altidore. His goal in the Citrus Bowl last year, I want to say he absolutely owned Seb Hines. I could be wrong on Hines, but that's just it was Hines, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he just owned him, and I was just like, oh wow. Anyway, all right, so Mark, what can you guys do? Defensively you're good, offensively you struggle. I kind of feel like our team is the opposite. Offensively we're good, defensively we struggle. Makes for an interesting match, so to speak. I don't have anything else. Ron, you got any questions? Mark, you got any questions? Silence? Crickets?
I don't have any questions.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we can just go to score predictions. Ron, you can go first.
Well, Orlando City loves to draw. Like I said earlier, they have 8 draws in 14 matches. We are still yet to lose at the Citrus Bowl through 8 matches, but that's only 2 wins now with 6 draws there. I see another draw this week. I think Toronto is a tough, disciplined team. I think they're playing smart defensively this year. I don't think Orlando City knows how to keep a clean sheet. So I do see a goal being scored for either side, but I think it's a little bit more low scoring this week. I think it's 1-1. I think Orlando City generally plays solid everywhere. Maybe with Kaká coming back this week, he can inspire some extra possession play, and maybe late in the game that's exactly what we need to hold the ball longer and not give up some of these fluky goals we've been giving up late in the match. So I see a 1-1 draw.
All right, Mark.
I would. I'm worried about Toronto being put in a position. The Bradley is going to be out.
Ron, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All
Mark
right.
just kind of zoned out.
Mark, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, let's try your let you cut out. So let's try your prediction again from the start.
Okay. I'm worried about the effect Bradley's going to have on the team, and I think that if you get a lead on Toronto in the second half, we're going to have a hard time chasing the game. So my prediction would be 2-1 for Orlando.
Ooh,
nice.
I know that's a rarity. I don't think we can close out a team defensively yet. We didn't do it last week. We haven't done it maybe about 1 or 2 times all season. So until we close teams out defensively, I'm not going to pick us to win. I don't think we're going to lose, but I definitely don't think we're going to win, especially after last week I got all on the bandwagon and was rubbing it in poor Dan's face that I thought we were going to kick their butt, and had to put my foot in my mouth. So I will agree with Ron. I'll change a little score. I'll say it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think Jervinko definitely gets on the board. And my Orlando goal scorer, I think we get a Higuita goal. I don't know why, but that's what I'm thinking. So, again, I'm Sam, Fan TV, here pretty much every game, every week. My wonderful and very knowledgeable co-host, Ron, City Soccer Talk, he's here pretty much every week. I think his podcast will probably be live again next week, Ron?
Tomorrow, well, hopefully.
Tomorrow. All right, so you guys can check out City Soccer Talk live tomorrow. Mark, you want to tell everybody about your blog and how they can find some wonderful Toronto information if they need it?
It's called Mistake by the Lake. If you Google it, it's known as the blog of hope and fog. Being close to the lake, we get fog in spring and fall. And
Oh, well,
Okay.
Mark.
Mistake by the Lake.
Mistake by the lake. I don't know what's going on over there. All right. Well, that is all for our time. Thank you guys for your time. Peace out.
See you, go line.